This video is both to be hopefully helpful and educational, but also to make a bunch of industry people really nervous. That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and I was technically a creator on the rise. I feel like I talk about this like every 3 videos, but like it's a big deal in my opinion. For me, I'm excited about it, but I started 2020 with about 6,600 subscribers. But I got this crazy amount of growth this year because at the end of February, I had a video go viral, and then because I had a large body of content that was similar to that video, a lot of people started watching my other videos, and because of that, I believe the algorithm kind of launched onto my channel because they saw that my channel was keeping people's attention, and so I became the chosen channel for a little bit. So my videos were being promoted heavily by the algorithm from like the end of February to the start of April. But in like the last 9 days of February, I got 30,000 subscribers, and then in March, I also got 30,000 subscribers, and then in April, I gained about 28,000 subscribers, mainly because I had another video do incredibly well, which also ended up kind of bumping my channel up in the algorithm. That was my video on Quibi's launch. That's an insane amount of growth, especially for me, considering my normal prior to this year was me hopefully getting like 3 subscribers a month. Stick with it anyway. But like I said, I got a lot of attention, not just from creepy people in my DMs, but also from companies that wanted to manage my career, manage my sponsorships, sign my channel, and take some of my AdSense. Now I know what you're thinking, Amanda, why are you talking about this now when you got most of these phone calls back in March and April? Like, why are you doing this now? Well, 1, I'm patient. And 2, I started getting calls from some of these MCNs again and emails reaching out trying to sign me again. So I'm a little concerned now because we're going into the winter months when ad rates start getting really good. That's why you're going to start seeing a lot of people do videos every day of Christmas, like they do Vlogmas and stuff. I'm worried that more MCNs are reaching out to people now, and I just want you all to be aware of the situation and aware of how you can protect yourself if these companies reach out to you. And also, you may not be a YouTuber, so you may not think some of this is gonna apply to you, but like some of the stuff I'm gonna talk about, you can absolutely use in pretty much any industry, I would say, especially if you are in an industry where you are self-employed or a freelance of any sort. Because the important thing you're going to learn here is that you have to be your own advocate, and you have to be your biggest supporter, and you have to be able to look out for yourself in any self-reliant industry. So hopefully everyone can learn something today. Let me talk about the very first video I did where I had a sponsorship on it, a paid sponsorship on it. And before I get into that, let me first talk about the sponsor for this video, Raycon. Please excuse my attire for this ad read. I'm freezing. As most of you know, my dad and I are currently working from home in the pandemic, so having a good pair of earbuds that blocks out sound is pretty important if I want to get any type of work done. Not only do they come in a variety of colors, but they come in a variety of fits as well, so you can make sure you find the perfect fit for you to make sure they are constantly comfortable when you are wearing them. Raycon earbuds are not only stylish, but they are compact, and I don't have to worry about any awkward wires getting in the way while I'm trying to edit. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price as any other wireless earbud brands without having to sacrifice any of the sound quality. Raycon earbuds give you 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design for a comfortable, noise isolating fit. And if you get your Raycon earbuds and you truly decide that they are just not for you, they have a 45-day return policy. So go to buyraycon.com/swell to get 20% off your order of Raycons, and thank you again Raycon for sponsoring this video. The very first sponsorship I did far too early. At the specific time of my first sponsorship, I don't remember how many subscribers I had, but I know for a fact it was under 80K, and I'll talk about that in a second. A representative from AdamandEve.com reached out to me for the possibility of doing an ad read, and they reassured me. They were like, oh, we've worked with plenty of people. No one has issues with being demonetized. I don't have a problem with it. I have bought from AdamandEve.com. I'm not shy about it. I don't give a shit. Yeah, sure, I'll do a sponsorship with you. And they were like, oh, great, what's your rate? And I panicked. I had no idea. What the fuck do you charge for a sponsorship when you have, let's just put me at 50K subscribers, okay? I had no idea. So I just went into Google and typed in what to charge for a YouTube sponsorship, and I found all these different calculator things that were like, okay, look at your last 7 videos, add up the views, and my views were all over the place because of the algorithm picking up my channel whenever, so I had no idea what my average was at the time. And again, I'm gonna preface this now. I took this sponsorship way too early because my channel was completely in flux. I had no idea what an average viewership was. I had no idea what you guys wanted from me as my viewers or what videos would do well at the time. So I really had no business doing a sponsorship at this time in my channel because I really was just kind of figuring out my footing with this new audience that I had. Not to say that someone at 50K shouldn't be doing sponsorships. I just should not have because of the crazy growth that I had so rapidly. I had no idea what my averages were at the time. But I did a calculator and somehow I got $150. That's how much I should charge for a 60-second ad insert. So I sent that over to the representative, a little worried that he was going to tell me I was being greedy. Came back to me and said I can't in good conscience give you that. And they pitched me a number and I'm not going to show you because it's in the written agreement and also that's tacky. They paid me that full rate for both videos and they paid me for the first video up front. As far as the first sponsor to work with, Adam and Eve was probably the best case scenario because they realized, okay, she doesn't know what she's talking about quite yet. Great. But they also easily could have taken advantage of me in that situation, and they didn't. They gave me what I believe was a fair rate at the time. I was happy. I will not speak bad about adamandeve.com. I will work with them again if they ever want to. They probably don't want to work with me again. Considering both of the videos that their ad reads were on did terrible. They were expecting something to do 80K because that's what my other videos had been doing. So that was just a significant drop. And also, I don't think they had a very good ROI on that. I don't think they saw a big return on investment. I took that advertisement way too early. That's on me. But I started getting emails from MCNs and managers wanting to represent me with brands and wanting to sign me to their network. So for about 2 months while all of this was unfolding, I decided that I was going to accept every opportunity to talk, respond to every email, and take as many phone calls as I could. This is going to be very different for some of you because some people don't like talking on the phone. When I worked retail, I was a customer service lead, so I had to be on the phone quite a bit and dealing with difficult customers. This was at the start of the pandemic, so a lot of people were willing to get onto video calls with me. However, I don't like doing video calls, and I didn't do a video call a single time throughout this. If there was some type of Google Hangout, I would always call in and make sure I was on the phone so there was no video call. Because I am good at talking. I'm good at keeping my mouth shut if I need to. I'm good at what was that? What I'm not good at, and you saw this in my Russell Hartley video, is hiding my emotions on my face. So on some of these phone calls where some people were telling me some bullshit, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea if they could have seen my face. So I'm going to preface this next part by saying that I was raised by 2 people in sales. And that's why I was willing to do this and able to do this. I am not a psychopath, and under normal situations, not business related, and not situations where I am being my own advocate, I probably wouldn't do this. But again, you have to be assertive in this industry, okay? If you want to protect yourself, protect your content, protect whatever. It wouldn't matter if it was an independent manager, a MCN, a shitty manager, brand, company trying to masquerade as Audible. We'll talk about that in a minute. I should also preface this next segment by saying that I will not be sharing any company names, mainly because I think that's shitty, but also because I kind of want to make them sweat, and I'm sure they'll know who I'm talking about. Every single time I would get on the call and they would be like, "Hi, Amanda, it's so nice to talk to you. So why don't you start out by telling me what your goals are for the channel and what your vision behind your channel is? So here's an opportunity for you." And this is what I did every single phone call. The moment I pick up that phone, the moment we say hello, that's my call now. I take control of the phone call because at the end of the day, they're trying to tell me why I should sign with them. I am not there, you are not there to audition for this management company. In the creator industry, you are the one making the content, you are the one with the face attached to the brand, and you are the one with the audience that they want to use to pitch you to brands so that they can make their 10, 20%. They need to be pitching to you. It's not going to be the other way around. So the moment they ask me that question, because without fail, every single one of them asked me that question at the start of the phone call, first thing I say is, actually, I just really wanted to ask what about my channel made you want to reach out to me? Not every single phone call that I took involved people trying to scam me. Some of them did. Some of them are just shitty. But some of them, more often than not, you'll be able to tell when they are more brand focused or when they're more creator focused. There were plenty of people that I talked to who clearly wanted to do everything they could to help the creators and make sure that they are getting fair payment and doing all of that. But there were also plenty of people who didn't give a shit what I actually did. They just wanted to know that they could, have someone else to pitch to their brands on their roster. That was really it. Not everyone is out to scam you or be shady, but a lot of people in this industry are banking on you not knowing what you're talking about. What they're trying to figure out with that first question of what are your goals for your channel, what they're really trying to figure out is, one, how much do you actually are aware of the industry and how much value you actually have in yourself and in your content. But they're also trying to figure out the best way to pitch to you to get you to sign with them on the dotted line. So if you sidestep that question and take control of everything, it kind of throws a loop in their operation. And most of the time for me, I got legitimate conversations out of people after that and not pitched to me like I was 4. That did happen at times. And the question of why was it that you reached out to me is actually a really great way to learn fully what you have that people are interested in. Again, for example, I had no idea why people were full on latching on to my channel at the time. And pretty much everyone that I spoke to talked about how, well, most of them had only seen my Lily Singh video. But most people liked that I was a commentary YouTuber who didn't bully people, which is mainly just their way of saying that I didn't talk about people's appearances or sexuality. They also like that from a possible growth perspective because people who make videos on other YouTubers do really well on this platform and they see a lot of growth. So they like that. Even though I was a smaller creator still at the time, even though I'd had a lot of growth, they saw a lot of perspective growth. People who had seen multiple videos of mine pretty much all talked about how they thought my most marketable trait was my voice. One company in particular was like really keen. They're like, look, at the moment you want to do a podcast, we will set it up. We will do everything for you. I was like, shit, can we talk about everything else they're trying to take from me in that same element? One of the managers that I actually spoke to, who is now currently like my not manager, as I refer to him as, because we don't have like an ongoing contract, but he just like hits me up every time he has like space in some of his ad campaigns that he's working on, which works out. But he talked a lot about the fact that he liked that I did my research on topics. In his words, that I tried. He did not like Other Girls Me. Pretty much everyone I spoke to kind of not liked Other Girls Me. A lot of them did, you're not like other commentary channels, but pretty much every single one of them did like, you're not like other girls to me, which was kind of funny. But he in particular was like, most of the girls on YouTube are just attractive. Not that you're not attractive, which I thought was funny, but it's a good way to get a sense of what you have going for you if you're not fully aware of it. Now, when I say like be assertive, take control, like be polite at the same time, I'm very good at that. There was only one time where I would say I got like rude, but they were 2 people on the call and they like kind of both jumped on me at the same time and belittling me. So I was like, what the fuck is this? No. Oh, I didn't even realize the overlap that story is going to have with the sponsor for today. Be polite, but don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to question people on things. For example, MCNs. Every single one of them, I brought up Defy Media. I talked to 4 different MCNs and every single time I was like, I'm sure you can understand my hesitation because I followed the Defy Media shutdown pretty closely and I saw how many people got burned because of that. Like, how do I know that your company is steady enough that that's not going to happen to me and my channel and my AdSense? Most of them broke down that situation and were pretty much prepared for that question. Also, Google everyone you talk to. There was only one MCN that I found that didn't have someone make a video about them in the last couple of years that said, do not sign with this MCN. They are terrible, and broke down everything bad that happened with that MCN. And the only reason that MCN didn't have that particular issue was because that MCN was not even a year old. Every time I brought up like, hey, I Googled your MCN and I found all of these videos saying why I shouldn't sign with you. Can you like touch on that for me and try and like explain why those are there? Only one person said those are all fake, they're just lying for attention. But the other 2 who had that both said like, well, we used to have a different format and a lot of MCNs did where you could just sign up to be a part of an MCN a couple of years ago. Most of them don't have that now. You do have to be scouted type of thing. So there are MCNs still that do have hundreds of channels on their rosters, but there was a points and times where some of them had close to 1,000 or over that. And I'm sure there are some still now, but the ones that I was talking to had severely lessened their roster. Still not going to sign with them because me, little old me at like 50K compared to someone who has 3 million subscribers, like there's no way I'm going to get any attention from this MCN. There's no point in me signing with them. I've had a bunch of you reach out to me and be like, you should sign up for an MCN and like join one so you can tell us your experience with it. I understand why some of you may think that would be like a great idea for me, but I think that also comes down to like a little bit of misunderstanding as far as how legitimate of a business YouTube is. Most people that I talk to who I know now are currently in MCNs are not happy, and they can't get out of their contracts because these contracts are typically 2-year contracts, and a lot of them are automatically renewing. Every single one that I talked to, every single one of them had a 2-year contract. Only one of them had like a 60-day trial period where you could just be a part of the MCN and basically get the perks. And then you would automatically be registered into the 2-year contract that you had signed up previously with that grace period. But a lot of these 2-year contracts are auto-renewing. So you would get to that 2 years and be like, okay, I'm done. And it's like, actually, you were supposed to tell us 60 days ago or 3 months ago that you didn't want to be a part of this 2-year contract anymore. So you're still locked in. Sorry, good luck getting out of it. Now, there are some people in MCNs who are getting benefits from it. But again, those are people who are much larger creators, and they are creators who probably have had some issues with monetization, so they need someone who is more interwoven at YouTube to go and argue for them. They are people who have maybe been just completely demonetized, so they need some other platform as a way to like promote their channel and promote their ad revenue and find a way to get money in some sense. The only MCN that I was actually tempted by offered me a $7,000 signing bonus, but to get that, I would have to sign away 30% of my ad revenue. Even though I was constantly on the verge of a panic attack and worried that I was going to lose my job in a pandemic and YouTube was not going to be able to pay my bills, that $7,000 would have been wonderful at the start. I would have ended up paying more than that to them by now anyway with how much I've made from YouTube. And honestly, if I had taken that $7,000 and signed away my 30% and signed on to that MCN for 2 years, I would be fucked now, okay? I probably wouldn't have been able to quit my day job when I did. Those contracts are not easy to get out of if you can get out of them at all. So no, $7,000 wouldn't have been worth it. I don't want to show you guys specifically what I've made so far because I do plan on doing an end of year financial review again. But I will tell you it's 5 figures. That's how much they would have taken from me if I signed up for 30% ad revenue. Also, pretty much all of the MCNs that I spoke to had some type of merch deal, where they had some type of merch department where they would had a design team and they would set up my website for me and handle all the merch sales and fulfillment and all of that. Not a single one of the people that I spoke to would give me a straight answer on what happened after I left that MCN. What would happen to the merch designs and what would happen to the branding, what would happen to the website, what would happen to anything. None of them would give me a straight answer on what would happen, like who actually owned that once I left. I'm assuming they would own it, but they should make that very clear and they should tell you about that to begin with. Spoiler alert, if you haven't already figured it out, I signed with no one. And that was pretty much my plan to begin with. I was just kind of looking to see what was out there and see if I did have an option that surprised me. But I, for the most part, was not really looking at signing with anybody to begin with, mainly because I wasn't really sure what I wanted for my channel and what I wanted out of content creation. Again, I still had my day job at the time. I really didn't know what I wanted for my channel or myself, so I didn't have any plans on signing. However, another YouTuber, and I'm not going to share his name because, like, I don't think he knows I'm making this video and I don't want to, like, bring him into this if I don't need to, but him and I were following each other on Twitter for actually a while before my channel blew up, but he had seen a couple of tweets that I had put out because I had been talking to a bunch of management companies and I had tweeted out, you really should watch more than one video from a creator before you offer to sign them, because so many people that I had spoken to had no idea that a good portion of my content of the I Tried It So You Don't Have To series was reviewing products that were sponsored products. I straight up asked companies, like, does that make you concerned about getting me sponsorships because I've criticized sponsored content before? One company straight up said, you probably won't get a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship anytime soon, because my Raid video had just come out at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't want one. It's fine. Typically there'd be silence because they didn't know, because they didn't look. Back to that other YouTuber, but he reached out to me and I saw you tweeting about this. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, because he was a much bigger creator. And so we got on a phone call and he was just talking with me and basically warned me about a bunch of companies, some of which I had spoken to already. The rule of thumb is to not sign your ad revenue over, not sign over access to your Patreon, not sign over anything. He ran his own management company for YouTubers and he was like, you know, typically we don't offer to sign anyone until they hit 80K. And again, I was not at 80K at the time. So I was like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I didn't even think that he was offering to sign me at the time. And then when I did hit 80K, he offered and I was like, I'm good. It's fine. Nothing against him or anything like that. Again, I just wasn't really willing to sign with anyone until like after I hit 100K. And now I just like, I'm not bothered about it. I'm focusing on other shit. So yeah. One company that I had spoken to, which was the company that I had straight up tweeted about that led to that phone call, was a company that had emailed me under the guise of using their company name times Audible. Basically pitched this email interaction phone call with me as if it was an Audible sponsorship. Fuck you. Not you, Audible. You're fine. You're cool. You want to sponsor me? Hit me up. Got on the call and immediately I realized it was a group call. Me and two guys. And so I immediately knew, okay, this isn't an Audible brand deal trying to be discussed right now. No, this is them trying to sign me. And I realized that very quickly. But they basically just kind of belittled me the whole time, questioned me the whole time. I kept trying to take control of the conversation like I had done with everyone else. And they just kind of threw it right back at me. I gotta give them credit because they were like really digging in there. I knew 2 minutes into the conversation that I would never work with these people, okay? But they brought up a brand deal. They said, oh, Raycon is one of our brands. Like, would you do a sponsorship on Raycon? Like, they only wanted to talk about sponsorships. And I was said, well, I've only seen, because at the time this was the case, I said, well, I've only ever seen people who are sponsored talking about Raycon. So I would have to try them out myself to check out the sound quality. Maybe get you a pair for like tester. We could maybe do that. If you wanted to try them out, we could maybe do that for you. And I was just like, yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great. Because I would love to work with a brand like that. But I would need to check the quality of the earbuds first before I signed anything. And then immediately the other guy on the call, who had been mostly silent up until this point, immediately jumps on and starts like defending the brand to me as if I had insulted the brand, which I had not. Again, I have now worked with this brand. I am working with this brand on this video. Very aggressively. It was very, very weird. Like, put my teeth on edge. I was like, what are you doing? It was like a 4-minute conversation of them like defending the brand. It was so weird. It was very weird. And I was just like, okay, yeah, again, I would have to try out the earbuds before I made any decision. Conversation went on for a little bit longer. And then they ended the conversation by saying like, so we'll send over all the paperwork for you and then you can just sign that and send that over. How quickly do you think you can get that sent over to us so you can sign over onto our brand? Not would you like to sign with us? Not are you thinking about signing with us? None of that. Just like, hey, we're going to send you the paperwork and you're going to sign it and you're going to give us all your shit. I just said, you know, you're actually not the only company that's reached out to me. I'm talking to several people. I have a couple other meetings this week. But if you want to go ahead and send over your contract, I can take a look at it and get back to you with any questions I have. And they were like, yeah, sure, sounds good. They didn't send the contract. I don't think they liked me either. But that company in particular was the one that this YouTuber had warned me about and said in particular that they did a certain brand deal with the YouTuber and the YouTuber had gotten $2,000 for the sponsorship and the company actually made $10,000, pitched him at a higher rate than what he thought he was being pitched at. So the company made $10,000 and he got $2,000. The moral of the story is advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to shut people down. Don't be afraid to say no in this industry. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's infinite reasons why you may not want to sign with someone. It doesn't just have to be the fact that you don't want to sign over control of your ad revenue, your analytics. Like if I had signed with an MCN, there's a very real chance that I wouldn't have been able to see even what I made for monetization here on YouTube. I would have to go through a whole nother avenue to even see that information in real time. So how am I supposed to know what I'm actually being paid from that if I don't see what my actual numbers are? A lot of management companies that only wanted to represent me in brand deals wanted me to put their email in my business email spot. So that means that any email that I would have gotten would have gone to them and they only would have gotten back to me about brand deals, which means that all of my other emails, I would have probably been ignored. So, you know, I get offers for a bunch of stuff in my emails, and I like being able to see that myself, so there's that. There's plenty of reasons why you wouldn't want to sign with someone, but, you know, just look out for yourself more than anything. If you can find someone in this industry who is looking out for you, who is willing to answer your questions that you have, absolutely reach out to them. So many people in this industry are not willing to ask questions or are just kind of selfish with their information, and some of it does come down to like being embarrassed from mistakes that they've made. I think everyone does better when we're all like open and honest about what we're making and what we're talking about and our mistakes and who's taking advantage of who and shit like that. So I hope everyone gets better at talking about the business side of this industry, because there's so many people that have been taken advantage of, whether it's by MCNs or just bad brand deals or predatory managers. Fuck, there's a whole bunch of shit coming out of these TikTok houses and shit. So just protect yourself, protect your channel, protect your content, protect your money, and advocate for yourself. And that's gonna be it. Have you ever done a bait and switch on a phone call? Have you ever taken control of a phone call? Has anyone attacked you for not jumping at the opportunity of making a little bit of money? Have you ever been offered a shitty offer from an ambassadorship? Let me know. Comment down below. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting my Patreon. If you'd also like to support my Patreon, that will be linked down below. If you'd like to follow me on my social media, that'll be up here. And that's going to be it. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I'm not against like signing on with like a full-time manager or anything like that. It's just like right now, I don't think that it's a necessary thing for me, especially with the pandemic and everything that's going on. Like, there's only so many opportunities available right now. I'm more focusing on like my acting career and working on that. And again, there's only so much going on there. There's nothing wrong with like wanting to sign with a management company or wanting to sign with an MCN or anything like that, but just make sure that you are doing your research and making sure that you know when your deadlines are for contract renewals and things like that, and specifically what your rights are once you sign on that dotted line. Just be safe. Thank you, Elaine, Alan, Elise, Braden, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, Cody, Colton, Crash PC, David, Devin, Dirty One, Dawn, Elliot, Aaron, S, and Evan, Eccles, Finnegan, Hopeless, Jason, Joe, John M, Jordan, Joseph, Kenny, Kevin, Kim, Kristen, Lex, Lisa, Manga, Matt, Matthew S, Meme Lord the Red, Michael, Jan, Nathaniel, Pat, Prowler, Rob, Robert Ross, Sam, Simon, Stephen, Tasha, Timothy, Tom, Wayne, Wendy, Williams, Endry.